Hello everybody and welcome to another video. So, Games Workshop have reacted to the outrage, to the hatred, to the anger towards 3rd edition and basically what they did. And they've dropped an article about the up-and-coming Legacy PDF. So, without further ado, let's jump in. Let's see what they're going to do. And let's see if there is actually enough element there to buy back that goodwill. So yeah, Games Workshop have dropped it. Legacies of the Age of Darkness. What you need to know. Basically, this is a article of saying, please, stop being angry with us. Please pre-order our game. Please, play it 3rd edition. Please, stop being angry. Stop bullying us. Nah, like seriously, if you're somebody who thinks you've won, and somebody who thinks you've bullied Games Workshop into doing this, that is not what's happened here. There's one or two things here. First, the list of units that's in this article was always in the Legacy PDF to start off with, or the pre-orders haven't gone as well as they expected them to, and people have voted with their wallets, which is what you should be doing when dealing with companies like Games Workshop. Being vocal and an arsehole to them online isn't necessarily the best way of doing it, because, let's be fair, a lot of that complaint, a lot of that is just going to get brushed to one side and they're just going to ignore it. But if you vote with your wallet and don't press that buy button or that pre-order button, that is the message that they hear. Once they start seeing things not being sold and not being supported, that is the way of making your voices heard, because that's the only time Games Workshop will listen. So, let's have a little look at this, shall we? The Age of Darkness Legacy PDF. So, basically, they want you to get the Saturnine box. And they have noticed that there is some concern. Some concern is an understatement, to be fair. Hopefully this article will reassure you that those Tartarus Terminators with Power Fist, Destroyers with Jump Packs, and lovely converted White Scars champions on bikes won't be resigned to the life on the shelf. We'll talk about the Tartarus Terminators at the end, but yeah, let's have a little look. So, the Legacy PDF is going to be a massive document. I am not surprised, but we'll see what's going to be in it. It's also going to be alongside the Talons of the Emperor, which is something I'm interested in having a look at. The Imperial Armory, the Runestorm Demons, and existing Horus Heresy collectors will be able to field their older miniatures in game, which is good to know. Which is always should have been the case. This should have been here from day one. This should never have had to be done. These options should have been in the game from the start. Absolutely retarded. But I'm sure we'll find out why they've done it. Why were these rules not in the Libra books? Interesting question. What is your answer? The army lists in the Libra books are reflective of the current range of miniatures. No shit, Sherlock. They are written to reflect the contents of the boxed games, so new players can build armies without feeling the need to buy multiple kits. Really? Because that's not what you do in Warhammer the Old World. Because in Warhammer the Old World, you put new units that don't exist, that don't have model kits, into your arcane journals, and then have a little designer box underneath telling your customers, telling your players which boxes to buy. Case in point, Brigadins, in the Crusader book for the Bretonnians, Arcane Journals, it literally tells you to buy a box of militia from the Empire and a box of men-at-arms from the Bretonnians to build these brigands for your Border Prince army. So, if you're doing that in one game, why can't you do that in Horus Heresy? Why can't you say, oh, if you want X unit, get this box and this box? Why not? I mean, we're still buying boxes from you, right? So we're buying 2 boxes to build 1 unit, and we get lots of spare bits that we can then use later on. Games Workshop need to get over this hatred for people with bits boxes and converting and kit bashing, because the heart of certain elements of the hobby, such as the Age of Darkness and the Old World, and games like Necromunda and, you know, your other specialist games, rely heavily on that sort of aspect of the hobby, and they really need to sort of do it. So, can I use them in tournaments? Of course you can. So, you know, of course they're going to be illegal at Warhammer Age of events, but Warhammer, the Horus Heresy, is a narrative game, remember, according to them. But we'll see how narrative of a narrative game they want to be when they drop that match play book for the Horus Heresy, which is inevitably going to come in the next 18 months. Just like Warhammer the Old World has got a match play book. So we're 100% going to get one of them, because a lot of the changes that they've done to 3rd edition has been reflective of the match play element of 40k. 4 turns, quicker games, objective based rather than the sort of narrative element that the battle plans and stuff had before. So yeah, there's very much an element of the competitiveness being brought in. So yeah, this entire statement of this tournament is just complete bullshit. Everything is covered in the Legacy PDF. I'm sure it is. But notable characters that don't have models aren't going to be there. But you'll have the options of using a current variant of that character with the certain loadout to be able to use them. They're just not going to get their fancy cool rule that they may have had before. And a very small number of units that once existed in the rules were never on sale, which are no longer part of the game anyway. This might become a newer incantation of the play. So basically, some of these units are going to be looked at and re-released later down the line, which is kind of what we always expected the Legacy units, even in 2nd edition, to be anyway. So basically, the Legacy Astartes units, so veteran breacher squads were never a thing. Veteran heavy support squads were never a thing. Why are they there? Tartarus Terminator siege squads. What the hell are they? Where did they come from? They were never a thing. Indominus Terminator squads pretty much been a Legacy unit since 1st edition. They've been all the way through 2nd edition as a Legacy unit. Mortis Destroyer squads. Why were they ever removed? You know, that's... Destroyer assault squads, cool. The box dreadnoughts, the Achilles again had a model. Assault ramp had a model. Attack bikes had a model. Scout squads, like, scouts are a thing. Like, there's one thing that I will just like point out. One unit that's on here that isn't really there, which is the scout armored recon squads with sniper rifles. Now there is a kit with sniper rifles with them wearing power armor. They're in Mark IV power armor, but there was never ever any scout armored recon squads. You always just used the scouts from 40k, and you could potentially still do that with the new scout kit. You know what I mean? You could easily still do that, but Games Workshop apparently don't want you buying 40k models to use in your 30k, because that's just a retarded mentality that they've got. The Imperial Guard, the Thunderhawk transport was removed, but apparently he's coming back. That had a model. Praetorian Command Squadron Scimitar jet bike. Praetorian Command Squad. What the hell? What is a Praetorian Command Squad? Do we mean a command squad on jet bikes? Like, surely you could just add these options into these units. So they're now just making up units to basically facilitate those options that were never there in the that were there that have been removed. So basically, if you had a command squad that used jet bikes, they had an option of taking jet bikes. Rather than just giving that unit those options back, they've created an entire new unit, which didn't need to be done. So the Warmonger, the Forge Lord, Primus Medicae, which used to have a model, Pathfinder, a Delegatus. I'm pretty sure the Delegatus had a model as well. The Armistice and the Mortifactor are all coming back. So the Legions as well are getting some stuff. So the Cataphracti, Terminator, Deathwing Companions. Now, there were the Companions, which were the guys in power armor, which looked kind of cool, but there was never ever any Cataphracti, Terminator, Deathwing Companions, or Tartarus Terminator, Deathwing Companions. The Inner Circle Knights of Cenorian, Order of the Broken Claws. Now, they've still, I believe that the Inner Knights are still there. They just have lost options. I believe that they've lost like the Thunderhammers and stuff like that. So yeah, weird. The additional Legion armory options. I've got a feeling that's going to be a trend all the way through this. The Emperor's Children Sun Killer Squads, which are basically they were the las cannon squads that had the Sun Killer, the sort of their rule for them. Rilo the Unyielding, like seriously, like is he not just the Contemptor painted pink? Paladine Blades, a Quillin squad, so they removed Palatine Blades, even though we have Flawless Blades, which are essentially Palatine Blades in Warhammer 40k in the new Codex. Additional Legion options. The Iron Warriors are getting the Dominar Cohort, which are basically the bodyguard unit, the Terminator bodyguard unit for Perturabo. One of the characters, Iron Havocs, the Tormentor, additional Legion options. The fact that they removed Havocs is a little bit like that should have been a unit that they should have had, and there's no reason for that unit not to exist, because you sell power armored models, you sell a heavy support weapons, so you sell the kits, right? So here's a prime example of this mentality that doesn't work. Iron Havocs are just Iron Warriors that are theirs. They're more skilled at doing the heavy weapon shooty shit that Space Marines would normally do with heavy weapons. So why can't the Iron Warriors just have that in their Libra, and you go, oh, I'm going to build a unit of Iron Havocs, so I'm going to buy a box of 10 Mark II Space Marines, and I'm going to buy a couple of boxes of heavy weapons that you sell, and I'm going to build my Iron Havocs. Like, what? Like, that doesn't make sense. Absolutely doesn't make sense. You have 3 plastic kits to allow that to happen. With the new kits, that unit should never have been removed. Absolutely should never have been removed. So, this kind of contradicts themselves straight away. White Scars, Dark Sons of Death, Space Wolves, the Yarland Hunter Packs, the Fenrisian Wolf. Again, Fenrisian Wolf Packs are there. You have, look, they're there. Look, Fenrisian Wolves. You literally sell a box of 5 of them for 40k. Just allow Space Wolf players to buy them. Like, seriously. Speaker of the Dead. Like, why? That, if there's a Chaplain console in the Libra book already, which they basically are, essentially, we've kind of got them in the book with the new miniatures that come out. Just have in the Space Wolf Libra section that if you want a Speaker of the Dead, you take this console with this upgrade, and that's what you get, and they get these weapon options. Done. Huskars. Are Huskars not just veterans? Additional armor option. The Atramenta Flare Cadet. They're just Cataphracti Terminators. Again, there's a unit here with a box. A plastic box that's coming out, being updated, that can easily be used to represent this unit. So you can literally put that unit in the box, get people to buy plastic Cataphracti Terminators. Hell, you could even throw out some new resin parts for them, nice shoulder pads and stuff for the Night Lords. They've got the glaives and things like that already as a Night Lord upgrade. And you could have easily had that there, and they got a fancy rule for it. There's no excuse for that not to be a thing. The Ophium Court for the Blood Angels, the Ophium Court with the jump axe. I can't never remember seeing that unit in 2nd edition, so I have no idea where that is. The Elastris Support Squad, not too sure what that is. The Iron Hands, the Morlock Terminator Squad. Now, I'm pretty much, are the Morlocks the ones that are the Morlocks the ones with that don't have guns? So, are they basically putting this unit back in the PDF and giving them the guns back? Because essentially that's what it was. The World Eaters, the Red Hand Destroyers, Mortar Squads and Destroyer Squads. Again, I can't remember these ever being a thing. So, what? The Locastrum Storm Squad, the Nebis Destroyer Squad, the Honoured Telemarkers, Full Monteras Terminator Squad. Now, I can understand them being removed, but it would be nice to see them get redone at some stage in the future. Poison Squad, Thousand Sons, Sons of Horus, Chieftain Squads, Reaver Aggressor Squads, Word Bearers, Salamanders, Raven Guards, Deliverers. Deliverers are just a unit of Terminators. They were a unit of Cataphracti Terminators with lightning claws. That was it. That was it. Alpha Legion, Knights Errant, Nathan Gyro. Why is Nathan Gyro and Tyros Rubio being put in a legacy document when they have a miniature? So basically, they say in this article that a lot of what's been in here is units that don't have models and don't have existing kits. But yet you've got two characters right there who have models. They were part of the character series. Nathan Gyro and Rubio both have a resin miniature, but yet they're in the PDF. Like, what? Why? Why? Why are they not in the Talons of the Emperor Army, where the Knights Errant should be? Why? Like, why have they been removed? This just doesn't make any sense at all. Fortifications, okay, cool. Yeah, whatever. Mechanicism, Solar Auxiliary. Wow, that's a lot of stuff. And again, most of that is 40k anyway. The vast majority of this is 40k units or the big plastic Baneblades. So, it's very satisfying to fill your army's collection across a decade to game together, but we all know that you want new miniatures. This edition will continue to expand the miniature range in plastic, including some units in this legacy list, which will return with new designs, possible new weapon options, and war gear. And then, obviously, that's a new roadmap. So, what do I think of this? Personally, I think that there's elements of this that were always going to be there. I think that there's elements of this that have just literally been made up. Like those weird Siege Terminator squads, which never existed. The weird sort of different version and Legion versions of Destroyers, which I'm pretty sure never existed. The whole thing with the Tartarus Terminators and the Power Fist, I think that's an oversight. I think that there's going to be a new Tartarus Terminator squad coming out, and they're not going to come with Power Fists. They're going to have different weapon loadouts, which is fine. That'll be sort of akin more to their data slate than what it currently is. That's cool. New stuff is always good. I just think this is really being handled badly, to be quite honest. I think it's just been handled very, very badly. So, yeah. Is it going to get the goodwill that GW solely want after the last couple of days? I don't know. I think there's plenty of bridges being burnt. I personally am not interested in the Horus Heresy. And if I do go to get into the Horus Heresy, I'm going to wait at least 6 months to see exactly how the game is lying before jumping into it. Because right now I'm just not interested. I need to see how they're going to roll this out. I say that Friday night they could show some models and I'll be like, oh my god, I'm getting into this. This looks amazing. But at the moment I'm enjoying my 40k. I'm enjoying my old world. And I'm probably going to get back in Age of Sigmar at some stage. So yeah. But yeah. But anyway, that's the video. Let me know what you think below. What do you think? Is this enough? Is this the legacy to fix it all? Is this the PDF to bind it? In the darkness, bind them? Is it going to fix it? Is it going to do it? Are you going to now pre-order the box? Is this enough to get you to pre-order the Saturnine box? Or are you still on the fence? Or are you still going to second edition? Or are you going over to Outer Circle's homemade brewed edition? Let me know in the comments. And while you're there, smash the subscribe button, like, share and subscribe and all that good stuff. And I'll chat to you in the comments. Goodbye for now.